Hey guys, in this video, we're gonna teach you some tips and tricks when you're building your own DIY swimming pool kit. Stay tuned, we've got a lot of great content for you that hopefully will answer a lot of questions and make your construction process a breeze.
All right, so now we're getting ready to install the Aqua Genie skimmer. Now, on these steel wall pool panels, we'll need to use these shims to space the skimmer off of the wall. I'll show you real quick. If you have a polymer wall pool, you'll actually need, you can get one of those out for me. Those screws that were in the skimmer basket when you open the accessory box, you'll get one of those.
Is that, there's several different ones. You want a tech screw, I think.
Yeah, one of these here. And you line the skimmer up through the back of the wall. Take these screws, and go straight through the skimmer here into the wall panel, just straight into it. Through the back of the skimmer, yeah.
For polymer walls
only. For polymer walls only. Now, we're using steel wall here.
Yep.
So I'll put that back. Get these shims out. Set that aside. So we're gonna put this screw through the shim here. Now Jones, hold that right there.
You got it.
And get another one to the other side here. If you can hold that one also.
Let me let you
little twister.
Here we go.
I gotta line this up right here. Yeah, both those screws pushed. All right. Boom, just like that. I'm gonna hold this in.
Don't forget to check out the full-length video on our Aqua Genie skimmer system and learn why we think it's the most efficient skimmer on the market. And best of all, you don't need to put in main drains. Check that out on Pool Warehouse's YouTube page. Don't forget to subscribe.
All right, skimmer's all hooked up.
Looks good, buddy.
Everything's in. One thing I want to note, you'll see here, the skimmer's sticking out about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. We put those spacers in to push it away from the wall, but it's still gonna stick out about 1/8 of an inch. It's okay because your wall foam for your steel panel is gonna come up. It's gonna sit flush right against that 1/8 inch there. That it's gonna be a flush seam once the wall foam is in. Remember, this is a through wall skimmer. The liner is gonna seal to the skimmer, not the panel.
That's a great point,
yeah.
And that actually is a better locking process.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get the next one.
Let's go to the next one.
I think we got that piece cut to the perfect length.
Yeah.
Let me check it real quick. So now we're going to go ahead and plumb in the Aqua Genie. You want to make sure you cut your pipes to length. We've already cut these, and you want to make sure you use pipe dope. So let's go ahead and I'm going to hand this over to Marshall. This one's the right length, Marshall. And here's your fitting for the bottom. Marshall's going to get that pipe doped up real well. All right, now we're going to go ahead and get that really secured up inside. We get it here. We got to turn it. So. Yeah, you got it in there?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, looking good. Let's go ahead and get the other piece in.
If you're inspired by this video, head over to poolwarehouse.com to get your free pool quote today.
Now this is our return line.
All right, looks good, Marshall.
Yeah.
Get that securely in.
Oh yeah, it's in there.
Oh yeah, it's not going anywhere. Perfect.
Sweet.
Now we got to get our sin line.
Yeah.
And now, if you remember, we're using that 2-inch sin line, so don't forget, you've got two different ones. We're going to cap our 1.5-inch line, and we're going to use our 2-inch line.
This is our suction line here. Yeah.
All right, now Marshall's got that return line finished. It's locked in. It looks great. Now we're going to work on the suction line. So this is actually going to suck water from the Aqua Genie and take it back to your filter to be clean. Now,
Hold that one for me.
we're using the 2-inch line, so don't forget to cap your 1.5-inch line, but we're going to go ahead and get this 2-inch one plumbed.
We have the 2-inch plumbing line now glued up. Everything's in. Got that going down to a 90. That's going back to the equipment pad for the pump filter and all that. That's where all that water is going to come up and return right here. Suction line is glued up. That's gonna suck water through, back to the pump, through the filter, and again, coming back through here, out to the pool. When you're plumbing these Aqua Genies or anything here in general, you want your plumbing to go all the way down to your footer. You want it to go all the way down and then run to your pump. I think we're finished up here, Jones. Let's get moving.
All right.
You see here with these Aqua Genies, we only have 4 lines for the whole pool. This is everything for the whole pool. Now on standard skimmers, I mean, you'd normally have a whole lot more than this. You'd have 3 jets, 2 skimmers. You know, if you got more jets in a spa area or something, you'd have way more lines than this. But with Aqua Genies, this is everything has its own home run. And that being said, you don't want to tee off. You wouldn't want your suction line from one Aqua Genie to tee into the next suction line. You want each of them to have their own run to the equipment pad. That's so everything can be controlled on its own. Hey guys, so we're looking at the Aqua Genie skimmer now. We're gonna make sure the top lid is level with the concrete deck. And how we're gonna do that, you can see we've already strung up from the top of the coping to the concrete form. That's gonna make sure the skimmer, we'll level this to make sure it matches the fall with the concrete deck. Remember, we're gonna make sure water's running away from the pool, or make sure the skimmer is level with that as well. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take these extension collars, I'm gonna snap these in. Now on a standard pool, you're only gonna get one of these. You can see how much of a gap there is here. On standard pools, standard coping, that's about all you're gonna need. On an auto cover pool, you're gonna need 2 of them. If you've ordered an auto cover pool from Pool Warehouse, you're gonna get 2. Now I'm gonna stop right here before moving forward. This is gonna be a pain in the butt trying to level, because this is gonna wanna pop out of place. What we're gonna do is tape these in place. Make sure while you're taping these, you get these sealed up real good all the way around. When they come back and pour concrete, it's gonna pour and seal all this in. You don't wanna have this any loose areas in here, because you don't want concrete to spill into the skimmer. Once the concrete's poured, this is all gonna lock in place. You're never gonna see any of this tape again, so don't worry about doing a poor job. Just make sure it's done right. All right, we got this taped up real good. None of this is moving anywhere. Now we go on to this last piece. This is gonna contain your chlorine feeder. And this will raise and lower, tilt to match the deck. That's what we're lining all this up to. As you can see, little high here, a little bit lower here. That's perfect. We want to see that fall. It should look like this, but we want to match it right perfect with it, just like that. And I got Jones here with me. He's going to help me hold this in place. While he's holding that, a little bit easier with a couple hands. While he's holding that level, I'm gonna tape this last piece here. All right, this is now just in the right spot. This is good until concrete day. What you wanna do when they come back out to pour concrete is restring this up. Make sure it's not shifted, moved anywhere. You want it to look just like it does now. But until then, we're good to go.
All right, now you want to make sure you come back and cut out your return holes and your skimmer holes. Now I like to go ahead and make an X in the middle of my skimmer. That way I know where I'm at. And then you're going to simply take your knife and follow along the edge, the outer edge of that skimmer, and you're going to work your way down. Now I'm going to cut all this out. Once we get that done, we're going to put our gaskets back on top, but don't forget to cut away all that excess material from your skimmer. That way you can put your gaskets on, and do the same for your returns as well. So it's not overly complicated. Just make sure you take time to get all those cut out. Now we've got all of our wall foam on and everything's cut out, but I want to make sure you remember gaskets have to go on next. So you've got 2 gaskets for your main drains. You've got 2 gaskets if you have floor drains, and you have 2 gaskets if you have full-size lights, and those full-size lights are about the size of a small volleyball. If you're using those smaller return size lights, your returns already have a gasket on them, so you don't have to put one on those, but you do want to make sure you get those on your skimmer. So I'll show you what that looks like. Now we're going to come back and we're going to put silicone on these, but I do want to show you how it goes on. Ultimately, we're going to put a screw in the top and a screw here in the bottom. Once I get silicone all over this, and I'm gonna put those screws in just to hold it in place. Once it's cured and it's dry, I'm gonna pull those screws back away. It's gonna be firmly stuck to the front. And the next gasket goes on the top of the liner. So remember, these go under the liner, main drain, full-size light, or skimmer of any type has a gasket before the liner. Don't forget that. This other gasket goes on the top of the liner. We'll show you that once we get the gasket in. I'm gonna grab some silicone, get these gaskets on, and we'll be ready for our next step. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is cut in our Aqua Genie skimmers. Now, if you remember, these have bolt holes in the front. I went ahead and used my finger to find what I call a starter hole. So I'll go ahead and I'll get a starter hole, and let's get down here. I've got this one already started. And I'll go ahead and back it out, but I like to take one. I find all four corners, and you can go ahead and get that starter hole going in all four corners. Just be careful. All right, that one's in there. And that goes in. There's my fourth corner. And I already located that one earlier, so we're ready with all four corners. Now, you're gonna need your gaskets and you're gonna need your faceplate. You can go ahead and get those lined up, but they line up relatively easily. It's not a very complicated process. Just make sure you get your bolt holes on in the right locations for your gasket. Now we've got the first one ready to roll. And let me find my screw. Now I've got all four corners snugly in. I'm gonna back those in a little bit further, and then I'm gonna get the rest of my screws all in before we cut away that material. I always recommend just using a screwdriver, don't use a drill, but get all those snugly in, and then we can start working on getting that excess material cut out from the middle. Now we've got all of our screws in. The skimmer faceplate fits perfectly on there, but now we're gonna get a knife involved. You do not wanna make a mistake when you have something sharp in your hand. Make sure that you have everything positioned where you want it before you put in the first screw or before you do any cuts. We clearly have the liner set like we want, but I'm just reminding you at home, once you cut in your liner, you own it, so make sure that you have the liner set exactly where you want it before you get the knife involved. But here we go. I think we're perfect on our end. Now we're gonna make an X across this from one end to the other.
If you're inspired by this video, head over to poolwarehouse.com to get your free pool quote today.
All right, it looks good. Now, we've got all that excess material cut out. Now we're ready to finish the Aqua Genie, but to do that, we have to put on our orifice plate. And this orifice is the return for the pool. That's where the water shoots back into the pool. Now, this step, it's important we get this right. Your gasket goes in first. We'll go ahead and put that in now. And then your beauty strip goes on top, but this part has a function. It's actually molded in the back with a curve, so it's taking water and pushing it towards the floor of the pool. Now, if you put this in backwards, it's gonna push all that water to the surface. You're immediately gonna know it's in the wrong way. Water is gonna be coming up towards the surface. You'll have to flip this around, but if you go ahead and orient it correctly, you'll see where it looks like water would push down. And let's get that on there. We'll go ahead and get a couple screws in. Now for this, you don't want to snug this down to where it's really compressed. You just want it to be flat across the front. So remember, get that flat across the front, but don't try to snug it down with all your might. It doesn't need to be like that. That gasket is rubber, so you don't want it flexing or bending, but just get it on there and get it snugged flat. We're straight across the face and we're ready to move on to our second Aqua Genie skimmer. But it's really that easy, and I love that you don't have those 1.5-inch return holes that you have to cut in as well. Everything is already cut in for my skimmer and my return right here. I don't have other holes to contend with. Really makes it a lot easier when you're putting in your liner. Hey, my DIY friends, I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope there's a couple takeaways that you can use when you're building your own pool. And remember, you can watch, learn, and build your own swimming pool kit with poolwarehouse.com. We'll see you on the next video.